We now welcome on to the show a very special guest, former Vol, current current Vol. I get we won't. I feel like I always corner the guys who played there by saying former. Current, as we can see that he's wearing some orange and white. Will Heflin. If you're listening to this on the podcast, you'll recognize the voice. You've heard him on some SEC games, Tennessee games this year on the SEC network. You maybe have heard him on a podcast with another friend of the pod. But yeah, you know him. I don't need to introduce him anymore. Will, we appreciate you hopping on tonight, man.
Thanks for having me. It's been Landon. I might let you give the backstory of how this came to be, but I did want to jump out in front of any allegations. I'm glad you touched on our good friend of the pod, but this is a different environment, right? This is more content. You guys,
this is a safe space.
Yeah, the thing that I do on my regularly scheduled programming is more coverage. It's much more analysis and giving baseball takes, which I'm sure we'll jump into talking ball because the season's in full swing already. But, I'm definitely going to be more of an open book. And heck, I might even get myself in a little bit of trouble. So I'm interested to hear about what you guys want to dig into because I'm sure there's a lot of hot button topics this time of year, but it is a great time of year. I mean, shoot, SEC basketball tournament coming up. Tennessee starts SEC play against our good friends, the Florida Gators and the Fighting Sullies. So a lot going on right now, but happy to be here. Thanks for having me jump on. I've got to catch up because, I mean, Pavoloni and Sechrist and Kivett, like I'm at the bare bottom of the totem pole jumping in right now, but you got to start somewhere.
Now's the time. Yeah. Xander's gotten too big for us. He won't return texts, calls, FaceTime. So you got plenty of time to catch up now.
Did I may have already jumped him then. I don't know.
You might have.
I'll go third behind. It's gonna be tough to catch Pav and Kiv, but
yeah, Kiv.
I believe in you though.
Anytime that we're bored, we're like, "Hey, Kiv, what are you doing?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'll give you 2 hours of content. If anything's slow, we just go to Kiv."
Yeah, his last one was phenomenal with his in-laws in town, or it was his parents.
His parents
in town, and he's got the kid going on, and that one went all over the place, but I love it.
Yeah.
Well, and you talked about maybe getting into some topics that could get you in trouble. My favorite thing about Kiv, and maybe we get you there tonight, if not, eventually we will, is he starts to answer a question, realizes that it's going to get him in trouble, then doubles down. He's like, all right, this will get me in trouble, but
yeah, he's like, don't clip this. It's like, dude, it's a full-blown recording. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, he thinks we're professionals and can go have the time to go in and edit everything. No, it's just like we just post it.
Whatever. And if we could, we still wouldn't. So.
Yeah, they're gonna cut it all out. No shot.
Yeah,
no shot. But yeah, I'm down to get into it and get it all out before this weekend because I've got the Friday Florida game, which is going to be phenomenal, and then Saturday's TV game, and so I won't have that one, and then I'll have the stream Sunday. So
okay. So has it really hit you that you are a broadcaster, or I guess an analyst? But I'm calling you Mr. Broadcaster for right now. Have you changed the LinkedIn bio at all?
No, and I don't know that I'm going to.
Okay.
I think the main thing is you guys can tell just from chopping it up with me and passing or whatever, talking's not the issue. And I know the game, but there's a lot of nuances and it's way harder than I thought it would be because especially half of my games, we've scored 20 runs. They're all run rules. There's been some times where I just have to keep my energy up, which is probably the hardest part about it. But I've had a lot of people reach out and say we enjoy listening to you, and I think the main thing is just doing it, just do it, and then I'll get better as I go. But to answer your question, it hasn't. I don't tell people I'm a broadcaster, but I am doing some broadcasts this season. Yes, it's been fun.
I'm gonna start telling people you are.
Well, Ben does. I get introduced about 8 different ways, but that's always there at the tail
yeah,
end.
The VFL's gone out the window. Now it's the guy that's on TV.
Yeah, well, I mean, that probably gives me more clout than anything I did as a player. So I'm fine with that.
Oh, We have there. I don't think so. And I don't know if you're labeled this in college, but did they mention you as a crafty lefty? Is that what you were kind of labeled as a little bit?
Yeah, they did, and I kind of hated that
Okay.
because it implies that you can't break a window, which, I mean, I guess everybody now throws 100, so I guess I did throw slow. But, I mean, I topped out at, like, 91, 92.
Yeah,
Shoot,
that's fine.
12 years ago, that would have been gas, but now it's just
Yeah.
like, "Oh, he doesn't throw 100? He's crafty." It's like, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
if
now
you
you
did-
have, like you said, like there's Tennessee has 6 pitchers that can throw like high 90s right now.
Yeah, definitely got out of there at a good time, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I timed that one up pretty good. But bad from, like, NIL perspective, but good from, like, not ever getting to pitch perspective.
so the NIL landscape? Are there places, businesses, deals like you're like, yeah, I would have loved to. That relationship was there. I could have gotten on with Iguani and played a lot of free golf. Like,
Well,
is
that
there
would have
somewhere
been
out there?
sick. I would have probably done the best going and doing some stuff back in Morristown.
Yeah.
Especially that 21 year. I don't think, like, let's say NIL started in 2016 before I was even in school. I don't think I would have made anything for a while, but I mean, that last year we're number 3 in the country. I'm a starter. There would have been something there. I mean, it would have been crazy, but shoot, I would have been
It'd been worth
glad
it.
I'd have been glad for some Chipotle bowls or something.
There you go.
Like, it's just different now. I mean, shoot, we paid to eat at the training table in the football center, and now these guys are getting their rent covered. They're getting free food all the time. Like, they're making money, which is awesome. I've supported that from the time that kind of talked about it, just because, I mean, you see how these kids are being set up for the rest of their lives, and I think that's cool because
What do you think Walters
there's money to go
State?
around.
Right. What do you think Walters State, like you coming out of high school, what do you think their NIL package would be to keep you home?
Probably nothing, but I mean, Shelton up there does such a good job, and they churn them out. Like, I mean, Walter State was a consideration for me because it was like, okay, I've got SEC opportunities, but if I go here, and their calling card is velocity development. I mean, look at Ben Joyce, look at his brother, some other guys that have come from there. So that's such a strong program that you have to consider it, especially it being close. But NIL wise, I doubt they got very much.
Mm.
But now with all the full scholarships, shoot, they're sending guys on their merry way in a really good spot, which they've always done, but now it's to an even bigger level.
Yeah.
We went up that way, up 11E a few weeks ago. We had Tanner Franklin on. We asked his favorite spot to eat in Jefferson City. Well, let's go a little farther.
Yeah.
Well,
So
what's the spot
do
in
you
Morristown?
claim Jeff County or Hamlin County? Like, which one are we claiming here?
Well, I was telling Raby over text, like, my neighborhood was behind the Lowe's in Jeff. I lived in Talbot, and I was literally on the Hamlin line.
Okay.
So my side of the street, we were zoned Morristown West, and literally across the street, my neighbor was zoned Jeff County. So, I mean, the line just cut right through. So I can kind of claim both, but my mom went to Morristown West. My grandparents live on the west end there. So, I mean, I don't claim Jeff County, but I was close, obviously. So, how about Tanner Franklin, by the way? Goodness gracious. I mean,
Dog.
just
as advertised.
You want to talk about coming out of nowhere? I mean, good for him.
That's why we had to get him on the show, because he's going to be too big for us in a couple months. So.
Get him now. Yeah. You can tell he's got some he's got a ways to go in terms of media. I would imagine he didn't face a lot of cameras at Jeff County and probably not at Kennesaw either, but he's a good dude. And goodness gracious, his arm is loud.
Yeah.
And what he doesn't know is bigger than I thought he was too. I saw him during BP before one of the games last weekend, and the whole team is like that. Like, Marcus Phillips is a massive human, and there were big guys when I was there. Like, you think about Crochet, Luke Lipsius was a big body. Like, Jordan Beck was a freak, But now it's like across the board, just the athlete that's there is ridiculous. And these guys come in. I mean, Levi Clark, strong as an ox. Chris Newstrom is a phenomenal looking athlete, and he can't even get on the field. He'd start for who knows how many SEC teams, but yeah, it's just they're a well-oiled machine when it comes to just athleticism, which is kind of something that baseball had always. There were allegations you didn't necessarily have to be an athlete to be a baseball player, but shoot, now you want to play at Tennessee, you better not be sloppy. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, there's what's that kid from Auburn a couple years ago?
Sonny D.
Yeah.
Sonny D.
I mean, he was really good, but that it's a totally different body type than what you see now, especially when you have Dean Curley leading off your program.
Yeah, that's another one. Just
Sonny wasn't good for the you don't have to be an athlete debate. He was he was keeping it in this is a part-time job for electricians kind of realm.
Yeah. He just woke up and ate fastballs for breakfast, but yeah, Bartolo Colon wasn't helping out. But shoot, like even Andrew Fisher, he's not the biggest guy, but he's very muscular. He's like a little bit bigger Drew Gilbert is what I see in the box because he's muscular and he's a little bit taller and bigger than Drew Gilbert. But even guys like that aren't like him and Keelan, both very strong, even though they're not big. I guess Fisher's big muscular wise, but he's not 6'4" like Curly.
Right.
I mean, Curly stands in there at leadoff, and you're like, God, this guy looks like Tulo in there.
Yeah, what is Marcus Phillips? He looks like he could play linebacker in the SEC.
He's an SEC linebacker.
He's every bit of 240, 250, and it's insane watching him throw because there's just no. It looks like he's playing catch. I mean, Joe
him
Doyle
and Franklin both do.
Yeah, Joe Doyle was the one that put it out. He's a big like scout, college draft type guy. But it was minimum 10 innings pitched. This was a couple weeks ago before Houston, or maybe it was after the Houston weekend. Minimum 10 innings pitched, the highest average fastball velocity after 50 in your outing. So like once you hit that 50 pitch mark, who has the highest average fastball? And it's Phillips in the whole country. It was like 96.7. After 50 pitches is absurd.
Yeah.
I'm really been super impressed with him just because of how green he is. I mean, he came from the Dakotas, was hurt at his JUCO, came into Tennessee with a little nagging injury, didn't throw a lot last year, and then he must have just had a phenomenal fall and preseason camp because they just slid him into the 2 slot, and I was like, "Whoa, are we sure?" Like he's sprayed it a little bit. I mean, the guy's got like 4 walks to like 25 strikeouts, so that's been a huge development, I think. And they're already so deep as a staff, but that opens up even more options because now you've seen how they use Snead, how they use Franklin. Like they can go a ton of different ways. And when Russell is built back up, then I really have no clue what they're going to do. But the staff is insane.
Yeah, I was thinking about the like going back a couple years ago, like how many of those guys, like even a Chad Dallas, how many innings does he get on this team? And he probably gets some, and he was really good.
I think
but like
Chad Dallas is still in a big time leverage role. He's not the Friday night starter, but he might be the Sunday guy right now, and probably wouldn't be interested in giving that up. But Chad Dallas, I mean, he had good stuff, but his biggest thing was, which is why Tony ran him out on Fridays, is he was a bulldog out there. Right. That's the kind of stuff they love. I mean, you see, my favorite guy on the staff now is Dylan Loy. He's 87 and 90. It's like Kirby and Redmond the last few years. There's still a place on the staff for innings without having to throw 100. But
he's been like unhittable since he got back.
Exactly. I mean, he's been nasty, but it's not 95 plus. So you
probably don't want him in a starting role, but he's a great bridge guy or bullpen guy of some sort.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if they extend him at all or go kind of matchup or one inning so he can be, by
like a noodle arm, like a Kirby.
Yeah, by the end of the year, he's thrown in every single game.
Mm-hmm. I like
But
that.
he's been ridiculous.
Some about those local kids, you know?
You got to have a few of them.
Yeah.
You know how they recruit now? It's ridiculous. They get
Mhm.
guys from everywhere, and they find diamonds in the rough in the middle of BFE, Minnesota, like Drew Gilbert. Everybody wanted that guy. But Dylan Dreiling and Hayes, Kansas, like what?
Yeah.
But there's still you gotta have some hometown, or at least Middle Tennessee. There's so much talent over there. They've had to hit that, and they do, because you can't
Mhm.
let all those kids go to Vanderbilt and Ole Miss and Mississippi State.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's what's been
they're not
impressive.
letting them anymore.
No, no.
That's
They
what I mean.
get
That's what's been
they get
impressive.
too
They
much.
still recruit the state of Tennessee well because there is a ton of talent. Yes, in Middle Tennessee, there's been a ton come out of East Tennessee. So to hit on those guys and still, like you said, go to the most random. I mean, let's for sake of this argument pretend Hunter Inslee is from Alaska on the roster. Like let's do that one just to do it. But yeah, it's
Kinda is.
crazy. Right. He owes us an Alaska trip. If
Yeah.
you see him, just make sure you remind him.
Okay.
It was supposed to be, if he won a national championship, he was going to take us, and we're coming.
He did. He made sure of it too. Like that was kind of his doing.
And we won it.
Yeah.
That was a sweet documentary. I loved that.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I ate that up. It's funny, Inslee, because he's literally the only guy still on the roster that I played with. His redshirt freshman year, or his first year, in which he redshirted because he had a labrum issue and he wasn't ready. He did something that was very dumb, like really dumb, and got some other people, some older guys, basically involved, thinking that one thing was going on when it wasn't the case at all. And it ended up being a big deal. This was actually the weekend I got married. So I wasn't even there. Cause I had gotten engaged, then COVID happened. So I wasn't expecting to be back at Tennessee, but I was. So we didn't change the wedding date at all. But anyways, this was a weekend Hunter's freshman year. And this happened. I'm not going to get into too much detail because probably can't. But I thought he was one of the guys that just wasn't going to make it. I was like, yeah, he's gone after the fall, or he's redshirting and then he transfers out, which you have to recruit that way. Now you have to bring in a good volume of guys with the draft, and just because you're not going to hit on everybody. So Tony has always brought in big classes, right?
Mhm.
And so you're going to have people that just don't fit, don't work out. And Inslee wasn't, he didn't come in as a super highly touted prospect. So it's like his leash probably wasn't going to be super long, but you could see there was some toughness there. And it's just insane to think about what transpired last summer after. I always think back to his freshman fall doing that dumb thing, and then some
And here he
older
is.
guys go to help him when it was actually his fault. You guys can probably put the pieces together on
Yeah,
what
sure.
happened. And yeah, I just remember we got buried for that one the next week at practice. Came back from my wedding to a nice workout, if you will. But he stuck it out, and look at him now.
Yeah. And that's awesome that you mentioned that, because like we had Richard Jackson on a while ago, and he was like, yeah, like I threw a bullpen next to Crochet when he got there, and he was like, oh, I'm way better than this kid. And
I heard that one.
Yeah, and look at Crochet now. So it's crazy like how they're able to, like you mentioned, find a diamond in the rough and develop guys and maximize their potential.
Right. But now it's so different. I mean, you're getting Tegan Kuhns to show up. You're getting Levi Clark to show up, who are top 50 guys who really shouldn't even be here. They should have been drafted and signed for Lord knows how much.
Yeah,
but
don't tell
now
them
they
that.
come here and they're like, yeah, I'd rather just, play here for a couple of years and then be a top 10 pick. And it's like,
yeah,
hard to argue that.
A little bit more money in that.
Yeah. How good is that kid?
I was going to say, especially if he continues any kind of what he's done, Levi Clark. I mean, golly.
Yeah. I mean, there's always the freshman wall a little bit, but for him, he's so under control and so strong that I really don't see. SEC pitching will be an adjustment, but
right,
he's not going to hit 500 the whole year. But I don't see him just falling off. I mean, he's a guy I expect to be in there the entire way.
Yeah.
And you've got him for 2 more years, which is ridiculous.
That's the crazy part is like, I mean, we've seen freshmen kind of like start and be that. Like we saw Christian Moore, Blake Burke, but they weren't starting up to this point. Like they were playing sparingly and stuff like that, but they weren't
Yeah.
like an everyday guy like Levi Clark has came in and done. So yeah, it's super impressive that he's done that. And I know Drew Beam did it for a little bit, but that was more so because Blade Tidwell was dealing with an injury.
Yeah.
And he hit a wall at some point. Like he kind of ran out of gas toward the end of that season, but was really good on Sundays. So yeah, it is kind of crazy how all that comes about. And Levi Clark's just been on this tear in non-conference play.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see, but Curley definitely hit a wall. He continued to hit, but the power numbers just completely disappeared.
Yeah.
That back half of SEC play, and then he kind of got a second wind there in the postseason. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see Levi what kind of numbers he ends with, because I mean, you have a start like this. I mean, you'd have to go over who knows how many to drop below 300 or something like that. So even if it's not just an absolute tear, it's going to look pretty at the end of it, regardless. Right.
Well, and this is a good to start off with Florida. Well, I mean, really any SEC team you're going to face, but to start off, Florida is going to be a really good measuring stick. If he keeps it up, and then it's just a matter of, all right, when does he run into just a slump? Not necessarily a freshman slump. Maybe he recovers from it, maybe not. But when does that happen? And yeah, I mean, he's not going to bat 500 this weekend. If he does, I mean, build the statue maybe right now. Go ahead and do it next to Hunter Ensley's. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Manny Marin's another one who's not fit. I mean, he's not physical like Levi, but I mean, he doesn't even play every day, but every time he does play, he just rakes. And he's ridiculous at third.
Yeah.
He's ridiculous at third. It's going to be I hate doing this. Like, you look ahead when you're a national championship contender now, but have you guys thought about the infield battle for next year? Like with him, Newstrom, so Curley will be gone, but Antigua, I don't see how a Blake Grimmer, who can't get on the field and he's a stud, like they're set nicely in the infield. Even
yeah, so is
Elam
Newstrom. He can play pretty much anywhere, correct?
He can play anywhere.
He doesn't look like a shortstop. I know some people have him pegged to maybe getting that shortstop role. He just doesn't look like that to me, but I guess Dean Curley doesn't either.
Yeah, I mean, he's a little bit longer than, say, Marin, but who knows? Maybe he ends up sliding to third and Marin slides over and Antigua plays second or something like that. We'll see. I mean, you just need Antigua to hit, but at some point he's got to be out there every day. I mean, he's the best defender probably in the country and can't get on the field.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
It is, but
he's so much fun to watch. I mean,
he is. Hopefully he sticks it out, because he could be one of those guys who's like, yeah, I'm going to go to South Carolina or Duke or somewhere like that where he knows he's going to play.
Yeah. And how can you really blame him?
I wouldn't blame him a bit, but if he sticks it out and ends up having a Jarrell Ortega type year, then he'll probably be glad he did. But we'll see.
Right.
We'll see. Florida's going to be good. They beat Florida State last night, and it was just they're kind of in our tier arm wise. Their lineup is nothing compared to ours. I mean, maybe that's not fair. Their lineup's not as deep as ours, but their arms are legit. I mean, they were rolling 95 after 95 in a midweek game, and their Friday guy's really good. But they are without their Saturday guy, who's like a Randy Johnson looking mug. I mean, he's 6'8", 96, 97 from the left side, Pierce Capola. He went out in the Miami series with a blister and then didn't throw last week with a upper body injury. So definitely catching them possibly at the right time. But
okay.
We'll
like
see.
that.
You just don't know what you're going to get opening SEC.
So with you being an analyst, that first time, how hard was it for you to just keep your bias to yourself?
Yeah, it's been really hard with how little I have on Hofstra and
sure
UNC Asheville. or I didn't do that game. I did Xavier, Radford, Hofstra, St. Bonnie. There's just nothing on them.
And
But it'll
Tennessee
be
plays 100 guys.
right. And their parents are probably watching, maybe some friends, but other than that, like most of the people watching are Tennessee. So
Right.
it's less necessary to be neutral. But this weekend will definitely be a challenge, and I may overdo it a little bit, and people will start calling me a Gator lover.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean,
'Cause,
well, to
they
be
did that
fair,
to
you
Burt
could
for a while.
you could cheer after a home run for Tennessee, and you'll still get tweeted about you'll make a comment about someone throwing 96 for an entire inning. Like and they're gonna hate you for it.
Yeah,
Which is fair. They should.
that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. I knew what I signed up for when I saw them on the schedule, which is cool. That's not nearly as bad as that stupid beep that was going on all of last weekend. Did you guys hear about that or watch any on stream, or were y'all at the game?
Yeah, I heard the noise. So could you hear it at the same time?
Could I hear it? It was in my ear twice as loud than anybody at
Really?
home. It was miserable. There were a couple times where I just went completely silent, and it was definitely my turn to jump in. And I just could not form words or thoughts because I was actually fuming at the stupid beep. So with all the construction, we're in a makeshift press box. It's actually a really good spot, but there's a lot of equipment in there that really we have no clue what it's for. It's not for the broadcast. There's some scoreboard stuff in there and some just random stuff. So something was beeping, but none of they sent people over several times and they're like, we don't know what this is. This isn't ours.
I think you just gotta start breaking stuff at that point.
Start
Just
unplugging
eliminate it
everything.
one by one.
I was just like, holy cow. Well, anyways, they finally sent somebody in there and he was like, yeah, too much stuff is plugged into this. So he switched some plugins around and it did stop there on Sunday after about the third inning. But I'm like, okay, this is day 3. Yeah,
I heard a little bit of it. I was at
one.
the game Sunday, so I didn't get to hear the whole 3 innings worth. So bless up.
Yeah, I got a lot of tweets on that one. I was like, you think I know? You think I want to hear this any more than you do?
Yeah.
Like, so
You'll also get some Florida fans tweeting at you this weekend, which will be fun as well, I think.
that'll be fun for sure.
I did see a tweet where it was like Will Heflin's a homer and I love it. So you got
Did
that
you really?
going for you.
Right. Well, I really don't want to be.
I mean, but like in the non-conference, like you said, like what are you supposed to talk about when it's 20-0? Like
I dead serious probably spent 3-4 hours researching Hofstra that first weekend, and I was like, I went into it and I was like, yeah, outside of where they're from, maybe where they transferred, they just don't have the same stuff that we have.
yeah.
And I just haven't seen them as much. Like I know most of Florida's guys already. And so what little bit of research I do is just kind of icing on that.
Sure.
But it is a lot easier to talk about, and the games will be closer, and so.
Oh, and it also helps to have other SEC teams playing other SEC teams where you can legitimately begin to talk about how this plays out for the league as a whole. And it's not, especially in baseball. I mean, this is the case for football and basketball too. The beginning of the season is not meaningless in the right word, but it's just, it doesn't feel like it has a true impact on once you get into conference play, especially in SEC, it just really feels like it fires up.
Yeah.
It's going to be easier, I think.
I think so too. And it means so much more. I mean, not in it just means more type of way. I'm saying,
Thank you, love. He's bought into the whole SEC.
Do you get paid when you say that?
I meant it means more for that season, RPI wise, and like if everybody's all worked up about A&M, if A&M wins 20 SEC games, no one's going to give a rat's behind that they lost to Texas State on a Tuesday in March. And same for Tennessee. They've been undefeated, but if they win 13 SEC games, they're going to be squeaking in.
Mm-hmm.
And so it quite literally means a lot more. Each win is just worth its weight in gold in this conference. And for as good as you guys know, for as good as the SEC is in basketball this year, probably the best ever. And for as dominant as SEC's been in football, neither one of those compare to how dominant the SEC is in baseball for the last 15 years. Like it is insane. Like football wise, you've got Ohio State and Michigan the last 2 years. Clemson went on a run there in the ACC, but like baseball wise, the last 15 years, besides Oregon State sneaking one in and Virginia sneaking one in, it's SEC. That's all it is. So it's
most projections you're getting 5 or 6 SEC teams projected to go to Omaha.
Yeah, and the only reason it's not 6 or 7 is because they match them up in supers to make sure that it's not just a Hoover part 2 in Omaha.
Which it would definitely mean more if that happened to Greg Sankey.
It would mean so much more.
There would be a lot of
it's going to be
rain in Omaha for weeks if that happened. If there was a part 2.
Oh yeah.
It's going to be even more teams kind of running into each other now because you add Texas and OU, who are probably, if it were to start today, they're both hosts. So they're just going to have to match up even more SEC in the postseason. Otherwise, it's going to be the SEC and then Florida State or Clemson probably.
Yeah. Well, got to get through regionals first. Just ask Wake Forest.
Yeah, that was tough. That was tough. I was not comfortable. I really didn't want that. I don't know about you guys.
You didn't want Wake
Evansville?
Forest?
I didn't want to see Wake Forest.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
I didn't want to see Wake Forest, and I really didn't want to see ECU because they've been so close and cannot get to Omaha. I was just like,
for Evansville to do what they did, it was. I mean, everyone knew how insane it was, but to beat those two teams together, it's nuts.
Yeah. I just thought there was too much outside stuff going on if it was Wake Forest. It's just like, yeah, Burns leaving is what it is, but like he's doing his own thing. Like, let's just do our own thing. You know, worked out for both.
Yeah.
He went second overall, made $9 million, and Tennessee won the Natty. So I don't think he regrets it, and I don't think Tennessee's mad he left.
Maybe a smidge. Just a little smidge.
Would Tennessee still have won it if he was on the team? Probably.
Yeah.
Would he go second overall if he had played at Tennessee?
Maybe.
I don't know. It's possible.
But everybody acted like Tennessee wanted him in the bullpen. It's like, bro, you had a 6.6 ERA when they moved you to the bullpen. You had no one to blame but yourself.
Right.
And what were they supposed to do? Keep rolling? He was pitching bad.
And he kind of became
I can say that on here. It's like nobody wanted Chase Burns to be in the bullpen. Everybody wanted him to be a starter. His stuff is too good.
Well, that's a time like fans are probably more mad at you for not playing well, but then you get a chance to come out of the bullpen and do what you did, especially at Southern Miss, and you're a legend. Like everyone loves you for it.
For sure. And had a huge outing in Omaha against Stanford.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a game we won.
Yeah. But I mean, he was one of those dudes. I think he went to like 3 high schools. He'd switched his agent a bunch of times. I mean, he's just not going to be happy wherever he is.
Yeah.
So, go do your thing in Cincinnati, brother.
I did want to ask you, since we're kind of talking about like past a little bit, that 2020 team, what could have been?
That may have been. The team was definitely better than my 21 Omaha team.
Yeah.
Definitely better. A healthy Jackson Leith. Crochet was coming back from a little shoulder thing. I didn't pitch a single inning that year. I was coming off ACL, left ACL surgery, but I was close. I would have been back for like SEC play. And definitely, just one of the bullpen arms. But Chase Wallace was starting, and his stuff was ridiculous. Zach Daniels was playing. He was kind of that guy who was breaking out, had kind of waited his turn. Think about KT, think about Trey Lipscomb. That was Zach Daniels that year.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got freshman Beck and freshman Gilbert, kind of one from the left, one from the right, fighting it out. They would have probably ended up doing what Semo and Burke did their freshman year, like rotating DH based on the arm.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think who else. It was essentially the same infield.
Solari was there.
Alaric, yeah, he went second round that year. But just pitching staff wise, I mean, it was stacked. Chad Dallas and Garrett Crochet and Jackson Leaf were probably the 3 long-term starters. And then in the bullpen, you look at Hunley, Kirby was a freshman, Redmond was there, I was there, Camden Sewell was there. It was a loaded team, and we were off to a really good start. I mean, we went to the Round Rock tournament, played a top 10 Texas Tech team, kind of bodied them, and then played a really, really tough Stanford team and won a low-scoring game, and then just beat the hell out of Houston, who was pretty good. So other than that,
shout out Kivett.
Yeah, shout out Kivett. He was still on our side then.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm trying to think. We had one loss that year. I think
it was a
Wright
midweek.
State.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, it may have been. But the last game was the ETSU midweek where Beck hit just the moonshot walk off.
Yeah.
And then we were going to South Carolina. The bus was loaded and we were getting ready to roll, and then the whole thing stopped. So, but yeah, I mean, V talks about it a lot. That 2020 team was really, really good. And then we kind of affirmed that, if you will, in 21.
Mm-hmm.
And then they really they really showed what was up in 22. But it's crazy how fast it's all happened, just from a program building perspective. Like,
Yeah,
I don't think anybody, he may have foreseen it going like this, but I don't even think V thought it would be this quick that they were this dominant. But the biggest factor of that is still having Elander and Anderson. That continuity
absolutely
is the biggest thing. And you've got your same strength coach, and you've got your old volunteer assistant back in Kiv. It's just like there's nowhere else in the country that continuity exists, which really speaks to how well he treats them, for one. 2, how good this place is to be at. Just Knoxville is a great spot to live. They take care of their people at the university. But I don't know how they keep Elander. I mean, we really need to start talking bad about him and just not giving him any credit, because they've promoted him so much. It's like that next SEC job, probably don't.
And they, like
I
you
was surprised
mentioned,
A&M didn't go after him.
Yeah.
They kind of went with their version of him, which I get. They were trying to keep that roster together. Bless you.
Thank you.
But yeah, you kind of have like Reynolds and Kiv. Like if Elander and Anderson go, I feel like you kind of have that next piece in line, I guess, with those two. Because like
no doubt,
Kivett kind of did the whole recruiting thing at Houston. Now he's back. And I think he's kind of picked that up here to maybe take a little bit off Elander, and then he'll take it over once he's gone.
Yeah, no doubt. And like Luke Bonfield's another up and comer in the coaching ranks.
Yeah. Ricky.
Yeah, for sure. Ricky. They got a lot of good people up there. I'm blanking on his name, but he's doing like some pitching and some baseball ops.
It's Reynolds.
Reynolds.
Yeah.
They seem to like him a lot. I don't know him very well, but I mean, that's what makes VV, because there's a lot of guys that know more technical baseball than him. Like, he's not some genius baseball mind. Obviously knows the game very well, but he recruits like a maniac. He's good to people, and he's really good at hiring. He's really good at picking people. Whether it's a player or someone to coach under him, he's really good at hiring. And you got to wonder, like, if he went into business, what would that guy be doing? Could you imagine Tony running like a
I could see
him
him
doing
doing
like he just seems like a guy. I don't know if I can imagine him anywhere else. He seems like such a coach.
I think he might be like deep into crypto.
Yeah, I could see that.
Or he's
I
running,
could see
or
him
he's such
managing
a
like some big crypto hedge fund.
or he's
Yeah.
like he's such a coach. He's one of those like Salesforce guys who's they have those meetings where they do chants together in the morning. Like he's got to live in that environment maybe. But hey, those dudes act like they got a lot of money, so maybe.
Or he
I don't know.
builds like a building right next to Axel and just does the same thing to take business from them.
Yeah, maybe. He'd probably
Is that from the
run,
Arkansas perspective? Is that
He'd
what they
probably
say?
run some big
Maybe.
pizza franchise and just
Okay.
open
He's-
a million pizza
Yeah.
joints, and they'd be
And-
like the Chick-fil-A of pizza. It would just be everything buttoned up, good to go,
Okay. I like
good
that.
service. You imagine him walking in and it's like not going well.
He's already done the lemonade stand, so maybe he just kind of does that hint of orange thing like Petros does.
Yeah, maybe
Something like
I
that.
don't, I
like
don't
a
know. I
nice little
couldn't see him
drink.
being anything other than a coach either, but I just feel like with his presence, like what's the word now that all the kids use? Aura.
Aura. Yeah.
He had aura before aura was a thing.
Yeah.
And could you imagine that man in the business world with his aura? Like he's one of those guys that just be elite at whatever he does.
I was gonna say he'd be a millionaire, but I forgot how much he makes.
Yeah, no
He
doubt.
got into SEC baseball at the right time.
He did.
This is
Yeah.
I mean, Paul Molinari's coming out of retirement. He didn't get paid enough until later in his career. He's got to make up for it.
Mm-hmm. He didn't
I don't
get
think
fired. You have to get fired to be like make
Right.
money. That buyout money is something serious. What's
It
your
is.
buyout?
0. 0.
Who sets those rules? Is it Paul Feinbaum or is it Danny White? Who's writing the
Or is it
contract
Ben
out?
McKee?
It's actually through Tennessee. So like any non-TV games, ESPN kind of delegates to the
Right.
school.
Okay.
So I actually went through UT. I'm like technically a independent contractor.
Okay.
Like
You should start saying Paul Feinbaum's your boss.
I
I work for Paul.
I work for Paul. First time caller, long time listener. From Paul, more important issues.
There you go. I did look it up. Tennessee lost the series to Wright State in 2021.
In 21?
Or 2020, sorry. Before the season was canceled. Talking about the loss, I got curious. I couldn't remember who it was. There were 2 losses.
So we lost 2 games.
Friday and
well,
Sunday.
they owed us one after. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
No, that was before then.
We owed them one.
Yeah.
We owed them
we
one.
we had to spot them the series. That's how big that game was.
Golly, they had it rolling there for a minute. They were scary. I mean, everybody remembers the Drew Gilbert walk-off, but Chad Dallas still has nightmares of what they did to him. I mean, they just bodied us. They should have won that game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
they should have won that game.
Which going into it, I remember everyone being very upset that Tennessee was having to play them in the regional.
Yeah. There's no easy draws in the regional, but that was definitely one of the tougher 4-seed matchups. They shouldn't have been a 4 is what it should have been. We should have played them game 2 if they were going to be in our regional.
Right.
But they also put ACC tournament champion Duke in our regional. We were the number 3 overall seed. And we get the ACC championship.
They won like 10 straight, didn't they?
Yeah, they just got hot at the right time. So their RPI wasn't crazy. So they were like a lower 2 seed. So they put them with us, and we didn't even end up playing them. They lost.
Yeah, because they lost to Liberty. Yeah.
And then I think they lost to. They either lost to Liberty again or lost to Wright State. I think it was Liberty again.
Yeah, I think because we beat Liberty, and you pitched against Liberty in one of those games, correct?
The second one.
I
threw the championship. That was my last game because we won both against LSU, so I didn't throw, and then we lost both in Omaha. So my last game was that regional final.
Wow.
Yeah, still kind of sad. But it's all right.
You went to Omaha.
The sweep over LSU though was awesome.
No, that was awesome.
As much fun as I'm sure it would have been to play.
That was awesome. And so I was kind of sandwiched in between Dallas and Tidwell that whole year, but I was really the 3, right? Like Tidwell, even as a freshman, was the 2. And but it made sense to go right, left, right. And then Hoover, if you guys remember, they threw me game 1 of Hoover, and then I turned around and threw the championship against Arkansas. And so when we went to that regional, they just essentially knew, like, hey, we're not going to play the same team every day. So they slid Tidwell up. That gave me an extra day of rest, and it also just put us in our true order. But then we lost Virginia and Texas and Omaha, so I didn't get to throw.
And Ross Kivett.
Yeah, that
happened.
God.
Yeah, I was happy not to throw against LSU. It's like, hey, that's a
I'm
sweep.
good.
That's
Yeah.
a sweep. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's pack our bags. But in Omaha, definitely wanted to throw.
Yeah. Well, you pitched some big games in 21, and looking back at it now, like you pitched the Arkansas game where Ferguson hit the bomb. You pitched in the Vanderbilt game where we faced Jack Lauder and Evan Russell had 3 home runs. That was kind of 2 of the games that kind of opened up the fan base's eyes a little bit of like, they're winning. I like that.
Yep.
It's orange, of course. We like that. And they just kind of like after that, once they opened up the stadium after that Vanderbilt series, it was kind of like, okay, this is the giant that we've been wanting. So what's it like for you to kind of have both those games, looking back how big they were for the program at that time?
Yeah, that was perfect timing too, just because people wanted something to do, and
Just sports. Give me
yeah,
something.
they wanted something, and so there were so many new Tennessee baseball fans, which was awesome.
Yeah.
Also a learning curve on how to, cheer at a baseball game, but Tennessee fans have gotten they're in that upper echelon in terms of baseball knowledge now. But it was just kind of funny. We could tell some were new, but anyways, those 2 games were interesting because we actually lost both those series. Those were the only 2 series that we lost. Number 1 Arkansas and number 2 Vandy, and they were both at home. That team, we won every road series that year, but we lost to Kumar Rocker on Friday against Vanderbilt, and we lost to basically Kevin Kopps on Friday against Arkansas. I forget who their Friday starter was that year, but Arkansas didn't make it to Omaha, and that was like the team that year.
That
Omahans didn't make it to Omaha?
There's no way.
No, Arkansas.
Well, I mean, but that doesn't matter because
at
least they won a national championship, right? I mean, so why does that matter?
They didn't have the Golden Spikes winner as a reliever and still not make it to Omaha. Right?
Wow.
But anyways, we were down 0-1 in both of those series, and this is kind of like the feather in my cap that I will brag on myself about. Any Friday game that we lost that series or that season, which wasn't a lot, we won the Saturday. We never had to avoid a sweep on a Sunday. Anytime, now there were some Saturdays that we had won on Friday and we lost that Saturday, but anytime we lost on a Friday, we got a win in my start. And 2 of those were Vanderbilt and Arkansas. In that Arkansas game, I carried a no-hitter through 5, I believe. It was either 4 or 5. And in the 6th, they got to me. It was like 1-0 at the time. And I think they put up a 3 spot. So I went like 6 against Arkansas, gave up 3, was on the hook for the loss, obviously. And then Ferguson, thank you very much. The Vanderbilt one was scoreless through, I think it was 5 or 6 again. I ended up going 7 in that one, but I was on the hook for the loss as well. All those were unearned. I hate to call him out, but 7, Jake Rucker, made an error with 2 outs in like the 5th or the 6th. And then the next guy hit like a blooper, and then I gave up a bomb. So we were down like 3-1 in that one as well. They sent me back out. That Vanderbilt tacked on 1 more. So when I was out of the game, it was like 4-1 or 4-2. And it was late. Like both of Russell's homers were late after that. He had the solo off Leiter, and then the second one was late because we both went deep into that game. And then the last one was the go-ahead in the 8th, I believe, because it wasn't a walk-off.
Yeah.
But it was that next inning after I'd come out. So those were just cool.
It might as well have been a walk-off. They were done after that.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. But it was those were the experiences that I still can draw that feeling. And it's like, I really do think those were the turning points. before the Gilbert Grand Slam, that's what launched Tennessee baseball into the popularity just around here. Not even nationally really until the next year. But the fan base got behind that team because we had some grit, right? Like I want to say we had 5 or 6 walk-offs that year. Gilbert had back-to-back games against LSU where he hit a walk-off homer.
Same day, right?
Off. Yeah, because it was rain or whatever,
Yeah.
so we had to pause, and then he walked it off and then played the next one and he walked it off again. So I guess he had 3 by the end of that year. But that team had a knack of winning late, and we were the least talented team in the last 5 years that Tennessee has had. And there were still big leaguers on that team, but just comparatively.
Yeah.
But that team had so much grit. And that was one of those teams that you still talk to those guys and stay together. Like I just would not be who I am without those relationships. And that was college baseball to me, was that season. And I still have friends from prior years, but that was it. You know, winning solves a lot, and winning certainly brings you closer. So when people talk about the culture and the family around Tennessee, I agree. But when you win like we do, it's a hell of a lot easier to be close. You know what I mean? Like
100%.
It's that whose team was it? Oh, it was Hendon Hooker's team. I bet they're a whole lot closer than, the 2 years ago Tennessee football team. It's like, well, why? Because we won.
Yeah.
It brings you together.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like you said, it kind of brought the whole fan base together into getting behind the baseball team and really actually caring about baseball. But I think it's also kind of like at the right, like you mentioned, the right time in that 2021 season where like there wasn't much going on. So that was kind of it. And then I think people just wanted something to cheer for.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, I kind of like baseball. And then it was covered. And so you got to see like the personality of an Evan Russell and a Drew Gilbert and guys like that, where you just all bought in after that when you see those kind of guys and the camaraderie of everybody. And now it's year after year, you have these same guys or different guys, but same type of guys, same type of personality, just kind of, and that's kind of letting guys be their own.
100%. But
that's
that
also
next year, the daddy hat becomes a thing.
Mm-hmm.
The personalities on that team, that's what really, because of how polarizing it was across the country. But for Tennessee, that was the perfect team to bring a fan base and just to energize it. And I wasn't like that at all. Like, you guys know how I am, pretty laid back. Like my whole thing on the mound was try to be, super composed. Like, I see Liam Doyle getting hyped after a strikeout against St. Bonnie. I'm like, dude, you're a potential number 1 overall pick. Like, relax. But that's just the personalities that they have. And that was super, just striking the iron while it's hot. But it's almost hard to explain how perfectly it all came together from a timing wise. And you're right.
Yeah.
Like, the Tennessee fan base, they wanted something to root for. And the best thing about college baseball season for Tennessee is that it's not competing with football. Like, because football is king and it always will be. And that's great. But Tennessee baseball has made the year so much more full as a Tennessee fan. And I feel
100%.
that. I feel that as a fan now, regardless of playing in it. But I remember just growing up, middle school, high school years. After football season, like, I was a Tennessee baseball fan, and I don't remember watching them that much. And like, it was there weren't as many streams. There definitely wasn't as many TV games. So it's kind of either like go to the game or, don't watch. But it's just so much more now that you can consume. And for guys doing what you do, it's got to be great, because now you've got you can only talk so much about spring practice. I know you guys love it, but if I'd get real sick of talking about some recruit who's been on 800 visits and he's got his top 8 out on Twitter. Like, good Lord. But
100%.
In basketball doing what they're doing,
it's year round and it's awesome. It is. I mean, last year was awesome. as that run to go that deep and then to obviously win it all. So much fun. And then you turn around and we're like, oh gosh, football season's like a month and a half away. This is exhausting, but it's awesome. I'd rather be exhausted being a fan than angry being a fan like I was between 2016 and 2019. Those are the longest 3 years of my life. I mean, they were awful.
And I know how y'all are. You talked about it before. You talk yourself into wins, right?
Oh yeah, every time.
That's exhausting.
Yeah.
That's exhausting. I hate that.
Well, it's more exhausting when you really know at the bottom of your heart that you're going to lose.
And it might be ugly.
Yeah, that's the exhausting part.
That's
and I
no
think
good.
it almost is. Jeremy Pruitt was almost a relief in that way because I really started like 2022 Tennessee Alabama game. I went in like I really want us to win this game. Can we win it? Sure. I don't see it happening. I just don't. It's not going to happen. So that's kind of nice that maybe he was good for us. I don't know.
Broke the curse.
That was 2022, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
The amount of moments in the last 3 years
Crazy.
as a Tennessee fan base as a whole compared to the entire decade before that.
Well, I mean, like with us, I mean, we've gained like a ton of followers in that time because everything is good. Like no one wanted to listen to us talk about Jeremy Pruitt's team when we lost to Vanderbilt and didn't go to a bowl game because of it. No one gave a rat's ass about it. So
people don't know we covered baseball in 2017.
They did.
We did, but they don't know it.
I sure didn't.
Yeah. Yeah. Jeff Moberg hitting a home run. Like that was, we had some of those guys to talk about, but yeah, no one knew who they were. So, I mean, we could have made up names and people were like, huh, yeah, baseball team did pretty well today.
I need to go look. It's funny you mentioned Moberg. He was our team leader in homers for a while. I think he ended up with like 7 or 8. I think Rogers eventually led the team my freshman year. As a whole, I think we hit 31.
How much did Christian Moore have last year?
30. Did he finish with 32? 34? God.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, listen, it helps he played 20 extra games, okay? But
no, it does. It does. And people talk about the stadium all the time. It's whatever. Like 320 to the corners. It's probably 330 at some places. If you've got a wall like Auburn or Vandy, it's shorter. 320 is not super short. 390 is probably 10 feet shorter. Most college, like Florida, Baum Stadium, I'm thinking Kentucky, they're all 400 to center. So Tennessee's park is like 10 feet shorter. Call it that. Before the turf, it wasn't what it is now. I don't know what it is, but the environment for a hitter now just feels better because of the turf. And maybe it's because we're playing later in the year, and so it's hot and it's not windy, and it's a bandbox. Like the field is not a bandbox, or the field is not a little league field, but it is a bandbox. I can acknowledge that. Like that's fine. For me personally, none of the homers I ever gave up made any difference of the field. I don't ever remember a home run where I was like, "Oh, damn, Lindsey Nelson special." Like, no.
Yeah.
And the ones Tennessee hits too, but there's a lot of like Clemson. We played in their park in a regional 2 years ago. That was way smaller of a park. That park was tiny, and I'm saying all that to say.
But they had a moat protecting the outfield wall too. So
they do. It's kind of weird. It's not level. But I say all that to say, the philosophy is different. Like Serrano was more West Coast. We didn't have a bunch of big sluggers. B, the balls are hotter and the bats are hotter now. They carry better. C, I think the turf made the fit it's warmer. You know how turf is when it gets hot. I think that plays a role. And the field being at the bottom of the hill, we kind of protected from the wind a little bit. Some days it blows straight in and it's a graveyard, but on a good day at Lindsey Nelson, it is a great hitter's environment. However, they hit those things everywhere, and they hit absolute nukes. But I don't even really remember where I was going with that. I guess I just wanted to go off on a
Well, yeah. I
Little
mean,
League field
hop
tangent.
off on the small part because I think it's getting so old that
It
it's a
is, and
thing.
most accounts that say it are faceless,
Sure.
burner accounts that shouldn't even be. But yeah, it's annoying. I don't know why I let it
It's
bother
also
me.
real tough to keep that up as an opposing fan base when that team won a national championship.
Yeah, and you
That's
hit a
tough.
ton at
Yeah.
Omaha and in Daikin Park now,
Yeah.
which that name sucks. Should be
Mhm.
Minute Maid, but they made the Astros Stadium look pretty small, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Like if we hit, like you said, 30 home runs as a team, no one would talk about it. But
31.
now sorry. But if
Take that away from us.
yeah, sorry. But if now they're hitting, 100, then it's a thing.
Yeah, no doubt. And
So
somehow pitching in Lindsey Nelson, there's a top 10 pitching staff in ERA every year for the last
Right.
5 years.
crazy.
Well, it's
Which-
almost like they forget, yes, Tennessee has to pitch in it just as much as they have to bat in it, but also those opposing teams have to play, and they don't hit home runs at the rate that Tennessee does.
And who wants to go watch a baseball game that's a mile-long outfield and nobody can hit it?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's way more fun to watch if it's a little bit offensive, and these aren't major leaguers. Some of them will be, and some of them are, very physical, but why would you want the field to just be a graveyard? That would be lame.
Yeah.
It's way more
Yeah.
fun to see some homers.
And you can't be a baseball purist and be mad about a field with the weird dimensions. Because if you get in like a baseball subreddit and someone mentions like, why don't we just have a standard field like football, basketball, name a sport, everyone gets all uptight about it. Like, this is what makes baseball special is the unique layouts of the field. So you really can't be mad about that when someone decides to do it how Lindsey
Yeah.
Nelson did it.
That's true. And like the height of the wall is different at every park and certain gaps. But if it were standardized, it would be 330 down the lines. It would be 375 to the gaps, and it would be 400 dead center. So Tennessee, keep in mind, 330, 375, 400. So we're 390 to center. We've already established that. So we're 10 feet short. To left center, we're 385. So that would be 10 feet longer than standard. And this is just my opinion on what standard would be based on, every ballpark that I can think of. Kind of they're in between that 315 to 330. Except for Georgia. I've seen Georgia fans lately talking smack because their left field is long. It's like 345, 350 to the left field. But the wind blows directly out to left all the time there. And they have a short porch and right. Georgia plays plenty offensive because the left field is long because it has to be. So anyway.
Well, we'll play at Georgia. We got plenty of lefties, so we're good.
Yeah. 320 to our corners would be a touch shorter. But the left field wall is a little bit taller. You do have the short one in the bullpen to right, but
Which
I
is
don't think that
it was
plays a role
awesome.
that much.
It was awesome to see Luke Lipsia. It did for Luke Lipsia sometimes. He hit line drives. I mean, he was beaming dudes in the bullpen. It was awesome.
He could hit some. He could get some top spinners out if he get it. But
he had some nukes in him
right now. Keelan hasn't really taken advantage of it. Most of his homers came away anyways. Fishers, he doesn't care anything about the bullpen. He's hitting it over the scoreboard. Chapman, like 3 of his have been oppo. Bargos have been kind of middle of the field. I'm trying to think. What other left do we? Oh, Peebles. He's kind of been a little slow to start this year, but he went freaking second deck at Daikin, so
Right.
no GP there.
Yeah.
But yeah, the small ballpark stuff really doesn't bother me. It's just kind of funny at this point. It's like you're really still on that. Like,
yeah. Let's get some new material.
Well, they're just recycling the same things. You're gonna see the classless stuff this year, I'm sure. That'll be a fun time.
Speaking of Luke Lipsius, I was listening to some podcasts. They had like a comparison to what he's built like. Do you know what I'm talking about?
We always said he was built like a rectangle, but I don't know
that's what I'm just messing. It was y'all's podcast.
Oh, it was ours, yeah, because they were talking about Antigua being a
Yeah.
square.
Yeah.
Nah, dude, Lipsius, I mean, his shoulders are so broad, and he has such a long
Torso.
just a long torso. Yeah, he's got a very unique frame.
He's a first baseman. Like, he was born to play first base.
Yeah, he was. And he was
Love
just
it.
a big kid out there, but he was a big rectangle body. He was. If he put on like 80, 90 pounds, he would have been a hell of a guard or something like that. Like, seriously, he had those broad shoulders. You're not getting by him in pass pro. No shot. No shot. He was strong as a bull too. Just massive calves from Lipsius.
I want to talk about it. Go ahead.
Well, you mentioned football, so I was looking up, doing some research, digging, trying to throw some curveballs at you, if you will.
Can you hit them?
Did you kick right-footed?
Yeah.
Are you actually left-handed, or is this another Xander seat? Or are we about to find out we have another non-true lefty?
I do everything left except kick.
What's the reason? How'd you discover that?
The way God made me, I don't know.
It's crazy.
I had more.
That's wild.
I had more coordination and power with my right foot. So
were you pretty good with your left? Like, did it operate?
Well, I had a soccer
similarly?
background until about 12, 13 years old. I was doing what was that club called? Crush or FC Alliance.
Yeah.
Played for those type deals. And the seasons are starting to really conflict. And so at that point, I mean, baseball was always my first love. I wasn't even very good yet, but I quit soccer because they were wanting me to miss baseball stuff. But anyways, I had that background. The reason I played football at Mo West my senior year, I was kicker, punter, place kicker too. My best friend, who's still my best friend today, was going to Coastal Carolina to play safety. I had several other buddies that played on the baseball team at Mo West, also played on the football team. Well, I don't know how it was at South Doyle, but if you weren't on the football team, you didn't get the fourth period like team sport class. So like all fall,
Never had that,
I wasn't on the
unfortunately.
football team. I didn't get to do the lifting, or even in the spring, if I had football, I could basically just go to the baseball locker room at 1:30. So I was like, I got to figure out, A, I just want to hang out and be one of the guys, but 2, I'm signed with Tennessee for baseball. Like, can't play receiver.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I got a soccer background. Let me go out here and see what I got. And I may not have been a power pitcher, but I was a power kicker. I kicked that thing a mile. Like, I led the conference in touchbacks or whatever. Like, our head coach at the time was Lamar Brown, who's the Knox West head coach. A real country guy. Just, I don't really care about none of it. Just put it in the end zone. You know, he wasn't worried about kicking field goals. We had DeAndre Delaney, my senior year, was in my grade, went to Wake Forest. He was our running back. So we had 2 D1 guys in East Tennessee. Calvin, who was my best friend, could play both ways, but he was mainly a safety. And then we gave the ball to DeAndre 40 times a game. So they weren't really worried about kicking a bunch of field goals. I was a good punter, but I didn't miss an extra point, and I put the thing in the end zone pretty much every time.
There you go.
So I was a good kicker. There was a rumor that I was quitting baseball because Michigan had recruited me to come kick, and I was like, I don't know where that came from. But
did you start it? Did you put it out there?
I didn't. A little middle schooler came up to me about it. I was kind of embarrassed. Like, I was mad. I was like, well, it's cooler to go to Tennessee for baseball than to kick in Michigan. I don't know if that's true now.
Connor Stallions.
But I was like, I'm not a kicker.
Somewhere.
I'm not a kicker. I just can't get hurt,
Yeah.
So that was but yeah, I did kick right-footed, and I think it was from playing soccer.
That's fair. I didn't know. I want to make sure we didn't have another fraudster on our hands like Xander.
I golf.
So do you celebrate like the left-handed day? You still celebrate that, even though you're kind of?
We got a date for everything under the sun now. I don't know when left-handed day is or what to do for it, but yeah, I guess. tell me
Okay.
happy lefty day.
Yeah, well, I'll send you a text next time it comes around.
Okay. Do you get like an update on your phone? Like today's
On his
this day
calendar.
or whatever?
Well, I'm trying to be smarter, so I have a word of the day now
Okay.
app. So
What's
there
today's
probably
word?
is an app for that. Today's word is unfiend. Sorry.
Was that?
Unfiend?
Yeah.
What's the definition?
Authentic and true without a hint of insecurity.
Okay.
Can you use that in a sentence, please?
Rob's unfeigned excitement was
You
evident
can't
as he
rip that
opened his
off.
gift, his eyes sparkling with delight. No, I've never heard. I've had it for like a week. I don't know a single word.
I was
Like
gonna
none of
say
these
that.
words that pop up. Like I don't know any of them.
That's kind of good though. You don't want words you already know. That's the whole idea of it.
Right, but I figured like I would know like some of them. I don't know any of them.
Well,
So-
unfiend is very. It's just
Yeah,
kind of
like
a weird
it's a
word.
lot of indolent is one. I don't quandary.
If you
that-
get one that's not too crazy, Friday or Sunday, text it to me and I'll work it into the broadcast.
Oh, okay. I like
There we go.
this. I like this game.
I've had a few requests already from.
Okay.
One was from Cheese, Mr. Chad Dallas,
Okay.
and one wasn't really a word, but we were texting about. I had brought up the ABS system. This was like I forget what game. I think it was Radford or Xavier or something. But Pav had said like he agreed, like love the ABS or whatever, because we were talking about it, like the new challenge system that they're doing in spring training. And so I had to like throw that in there on the broadcast. But Cheese said mix in a Jiminy, which is like a Frank Anderson inside joke. Because
Okay.
sometimes he would say Jiminy Christmas, like that was one of his things. And so I did mix it in there within like 5 minutes.
Oh yeah, you got to do
And
it immediately or you
They
forget.
went crazy, and I was like, it was smooth, like it worked. I can't remember exactly what I said, but it wasn't
Mhm.
just like super forced and bad. I went back and listened to make sure,
Okay.
That's okay.
but it was good. But that's our.
How
Go ahead.
how hard is it for you to go back and listen to yourself? Because I hate
It's
listening
tough.
to our show.
It's tough. Yeah, I try. I make it. I'll probably get an inning or two of each game,
Okay.
and then
That's enough. Yeah.
just trying to. Yeah, it's more so like tone. Then I really wish my voice was deeper. But I think that's one of the things that will come like with time. And then I got to get quicker. I got to get my thoughts out quicker and move on because I'm
Okay.
from Morristown. I mean, I talk slow,
Sure.
you know?
We get it.
Yeah,
Yeah. Just tell them you're the IMAC pitcher of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2014, I'm
Yeah.
MAC player of the year, baby.
There you go.
The year before Zach Lingenfelter, he won it the next year, but I was out for Tommy John, so I kind of opened the door for him.
Was Andrew Lee before that?
He was a senior my 8th grade year.
Okay.
So I never played with A. Lee.
Okay.
Well,
Well, hey,
I'm pretty
Morristown
sure he
West has
won.
put
He
out
had to
some.
have won it. He was a stud in high school.
Yeah.
He was a stud.
Yeah.
At
My
everything.
junior year, we beat Morristown West 1-0, and it was because of a walk and 2 pitches that were probably strikes, but the ball just got past the catcher because it was too fast for him.
Was this at our place or your place?
Yeah, your place.
Trying to think who would have been the catcher. Probably Josh Woody. Do you know that name? He was a good catcher.
Sounds
His brother
familiar.
Isaac. I played with his brother Isaac.
Okay.
He may have been older than A. Lee, so I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah.
y'all had some good teams at South Doyle when I was in school. Blake Stansberry, Bunches, Brody Rollins.
Oh yeah. Blake
Brody Rollins
Stansberry.
played football at
QB1, baby.
Yeah.
Gardner Webb.
Yeah, he's still one of our boys.
He was a stud.
Still
is
is.
a stud.
Yeah, still is. I mean,
No doubt.
the most athletic person I've ever known. So
Tell the good listeners how we became acquainted, Mr. Raby. You can start it at the golf, and then I feel like we gotta give Wes and Natalie a shout out.
yeah, so you are part of their small group, or I guess your wife is a part of. So one of our best friends, Wes, been best friends since high school. It's funny. I was number 10 in high school. Wes was 11. Caleb was 12. So we were
Flip
all
it
on a line.
other way around, but that's fine.
Oh yeah, 10, 11. Yeah, Wes was 12. Caleb was 11. Sorry, but yeah, in a line.
Good
we get
number.
it. Yeah. There you go. Sticks.
There's been some really good 11s since this Joker wore it. Goodness gracious.
I think we give it to the best transfer now that Dolander, Amick, and Fisher all.
I was like, y'all
Good one.
couldn't at least give me a year. Gave it to the SEC Pitcher of the Year. Gave it to the first Comp B round or whatever you want to call it for
Yeah.
Amick, and now it's Andrew Fisher. Like, are we serious? Nobody's gonna ever remember me as number 11.
You can shoehorn that into the next broadcast. Just mention like number 11s. Like there's been some great number 11s here in the past few years.
There's been some great ones. Yeah.
Start at you.
Start at Fisher and work back and stop at Dolander.
Yeah. But anyway, so I guess Will's wife and Natalie are in a small group together. And y'all hang out pretty often, right?
Yeah, they've started doing a monthly couples dinner with the small
Okay.
groups. I've seen Wes a decent bit in the last few months, but we've
Okay.
golfed a couple times. Great dude.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, he's pretty good at golf too, which sucks because he never lets you hear the end of it.
He is good.
And then we kind of we talked for a while at the wedding.
Yes. But where did we first meet?
Where did
Caleb
we
was there too. Was that your golf tournament?
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
So
you
shout out
brought the boys.
Pavoloni. Shout out Pavoloni and Dickey. They brought in the two big guns, Chase Wallace and myself,
Yep.
for some golf. And
So
that
who's
was
the
where-
best out of all y'all?
Chase Wallace is he's like almost scratch.
Wow.
And then I'm probably y'all know Beaverbrook. That's where
Yeah.
I play a lot at. I was a member there for a while, but when I'm playing a lot, I'm close to a 5, probably like a 6, 7, 8 typically. And then right
Mhm.
now probably like a 10. But Dickey and Pav, we went and played Avalon a couple times over their off season, and they've gotten a lot better. But like when they first got back, it was like they would scramble against me solo. And I'm not great. Like Chase is way better than me, but that's kind of the totem poles. Like Wally,
Okay.
myself, and then probably I don't know. Dickey and Pav both have their days. Jared Dickey can hit it a mile, but
That shocks me 0%.
Yeah, he's a
yeah,
professional
I would
hitter.
say Pav has probably gotten more consistent, just being in a good position.
Yeah. Well, and they have time to play a lot now.
They do.
Did you play a lot when you were in college?
No. So Chase actually started taking me to Iguani during COVID, and that was when I first started playing. But as soon as I got out of school, I was hooked.
Okay.
As soon as I got done playing and had a little bit of money, I built my bag. I bought a driver, got fitted for that. And then I went and got fitted for some P790s, and then I just became a gearhead, and then like a YouTube golf was just like I was down that rabbit hole and hooked. So
love that.
who's the dude? I mean, I'll watch like GM Golf and Grant Horvath and like those, and Bob Does Sports if I'm just chilling. But some of those guys that do like the informational stuff, I would get on there. Who's the guy that does Break 75? He's like English. Do you know who I'm talking about?
It's not Rick Shields, is it?
Rick Shields Golf.
Is
Yeah.
it? Okay.
Yeah, Rick Shields taught.
Yeah, he's got some good videos.
He taught you?
Yeah, or tried.
Yeah, I need to go look at that because your boy is rough.
Well, we haven't had great weather.
Yeah. We need to go
Where's
play.
y'all's favorite? Is Iguana your favorite?
Iguani's our favorite because we play for free most of the time.
Okay,
so-
yeah, that'd be my favorite too.
Yeah.
My
Iguana
favorite
or
is
the-
Willow Creek. Willow
I don't
Creek
think
and
Willow Creek.
Farragut's my favorite.
The Hollands at Sevierville is probably my favorite course.
Okay, yeah. Played there like 2 weeks ago with Chase
Did you?
and his dad.
Oh, nice.
I like Ruggles.
I like Ruggles a lot too.
Mm. It's okay. I played there with Zach Lingenfelter this summer a couple times.
It's open.
Lingo is still my boy. We live together, and he is now assistant at Sevier County and coaching. Just had
Okay.
a second boy.
Nice.
So he's a dad of 2, but he's one of those guys that he was definitely on the upswing. I mean, he was a top 50 prospect at a high school, and Serrano actually got him to come here, and never did anything crazy. But if he was on the team now, he would kind of be like a Tegan Coons, or he was one of the top guys that Serrano was able to get.
Yeah.
Serrano could recruit. He just didn't recruit enough. So I don't know if you guys have ever dug into that too much. Like, he really had it going in a better direction, because when he got here, it was awful.
Right.
Mhm.
And he was close to being competitive. But the class before mine, he only signed 9 guys or 10 guys and lost 6 of them in the draft. So 4 guys show up. And like one of them's Will Neely, and he ends up having a decent career, but the other 3 guys, not really.
Yeah.
But he lost Key Brian Hayes, who plays for the Pirates, third base every day now, in the first round. He lost Chris Betts, a catcher, in the second round, Trey Cabbage from Granger County in the third round, a left-hand pitcher in the fourth round from like North Carolina, and then Lane Thomas
Oh yeah.
from Bearden in the fifth round. So it's like Tony's
Mhm.
losing guys too,
Dudes.
but you look at his classes, it's 20 to 30 guys. That was Dave's biggest issue, in my opinion. There just wasn't nowhere near the depth, because he gets. I mean, he had Mookie Betts.
I was about to say
Obviously
Mookie.
never showed up.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
Yeah, I think I've heard
Johnson's
and-
rank where he coaches now.
Yeah, I know. I saw it for the first time ever.
Yeah, they were 5-44 the year he took over. So
They beat Tennessee Wesleyan, which is a really good NAIA program, like one of the best.
Wesleyan's top 5.
Yeah.
They're like 3 right now, but Johnson beat him in a series.
Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome.
You need to play Willow Creek, though, in Farragut. If you guys like Iguani, you'll love Willow Creek.
Okay.
Iguani's hard, but it is.
Yeah, it kicks my ass, but
Highlands is probably 1B for me.
It's just a fun course. I like the river up there, but it's kind of like Iguani. It's a little challenging where if you're not having a great day, for someone like me, it can be miserable. It can be a miserable 4 hours. But the Highlands is kind of just, it has some tough holes, but as a whole, it's fun.
Yeah. Well, you at least have the Titleist hat game strong.
There you go.
I tried. I own too many hats, so some of them got to be good. What do we say, Landon? I counted like 200 something when I moved.
Yeah. And he left some.
Yeah.
I got one more question, Will, and I'll let you get out of here.
Hit me.
This was a question that was submitted anonymously. Who is the best fantasy football player of your teammates?
So the group that whatever anonymous person is asking about, it was probably Kivett, if I had to guess. But anyways, we have yet to have a repeat champion, which is cool, and we've had, I think, 3 or 4 years. But your boy is commissioner, so they call me commish. I have handled that role to the best of my ability, and the constituents of the league have been phenomenal. But for those of you at home who want to know who all is in the league, Jake Rucker is our defending champ, was actually just signed as a free agent into the league this past year, and we let him walk in and win it. So that one hurts. Hard to say it's not Jake Rucker because he's 1 for 1.
Yeah.
But Pete Durkay is in the league, always in contention, doesn't have a title yet. Max Ferguson is definitely has a case to be the best fantasy football player. He won, I believe, 2 years ago. Pavoloni, definitely not the best. Definitely not the best. Liam Spence, our resident Australian, definitely he's not the best. Liam is solid, but he's not the best. Trey
Okay.
Lipscomb, I believe, won it the first year and had a good year this past year, but he's hit or miss. And then Cheese is easily the worst. Chad Dallas. He's the guy you kind of got to remind, hey, set your lineup. But he's all about it. He's just there for the vibes, though.
Yeah.
You know, he's not.
You need that guy.
You need that guy, but I'm like, dude, at least it's always something on draft night. We set it months in advance, and it's always he ends up auto drafting after a little bit. And I'm just like, dude, this is a very competitive league every year where we're talking a lot of smack. Just take it seriously. But that's not who Cheese is. And then
Yeah.
Cortland Lawson came in with Rucker this year and did not have a good year. I believe I finished last this year. So I went 0 RB, and I'm like a fantasy sweat. Okay. I won one of my dynasties this year. I know ball. Okay.
Okay.
I know ball, at least NFL. But I got buried in our league. I went 0 RB, and then Rashee Rice went out immediately for the year. And then I lost, I believe, Ayuk. So I went 0 RB and then ended up with 0 receivers too. So all the receivers that I took early got hurt. And I stacked. Oh, I remember. My worst pick was Kincaid. I took him way too early, stacking him with Josh Allen. Because Allen fell to me like midway through the third in his average draft position. Are you guys fantasy football guys, or am I just?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Caleb's the Arkhamish.
Perfect. So Allen's ADP at the time was like mid-second, early third round. Like he was second QB off the board, and it was middle of the third round, and he fell to me, and I was like, well, I love Dalton Kincaid, so let me take Allen, and then I'll stack him, but that just didn't work out at all. So Allen was literally probably the only top 10 guy that I had on the roster. Let me see. Who else did I have go down?
I'm on a streak where my first round pick always gets hurt, so
I took Garrett Wilson.
4 years.
I took Garrett Wilson early, and Rodgers was a bust. I took Marvin Harrison in the second. That was dumb. Yeah, it just wasn't a good year for me. I think I got runner up one year, but haven't won it, which is starting to grind my gears.
That's a good lineup with guys you have in the league, though.
Yeah.
Like y'all can make like an actual baseball team.
It's a phenomenal league. Who did I leave out? Did I say Evan Russell?
You did not say Evan Russell.
Russ is in the league as well.
But what's he doing now?
He's not the best.
Is he like in politics?
No. Russ works at Raymond James.
Okay.
And so he's got his hand in some of the NIL stuff, but he's in that finance world. And when I left my first job out of school, I rolled my retirement over to him. So
so he's kind of in the crypto space.
No, he's in that financial advising stuff, but they have it differently. Their company's set up like he's not having to reach out to all his friends and family, like ask them to, buy some policy from him.
Yeah. So I can hit my.
They kind of brought him in this to be mentored on one of their OG guys, and then him kind of take over that book. It's cool how they have it set up. Like it was a good fit for him, and he's crushing it. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, but Russ is engaged. Don't know when they're going to get married. They're going to be one of those people who look up. His wife or his fiance Lexi was a cheerleader at UT. Phenomenal couple, those two. And but they'll be the type to you'll blink. And it's been like 2.5 years, and they're like, well, we're still engaged. Let's just go to the courthouse. Yeah, but Russ is doing well. Talked to him a decent bit. Pete Durkay, who's in the league, just had a son named Matt.
Okay, friend of the pod.
Phenomenal human being, Pete Durkay. He's my main
We're
golf
talking about his son, Matt. We had him on.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
You had Pete's son on?
Good friend of the pod.
He might
Max
be.
Ferguson is doing well too, if that's who you mean.
Is he still in a lot of bases?
I would
Still?
imagine.
Yeah.
I would imagine. He needs to put on some weight, start hitting some homers.
Okay.
But very,
Cortland came to the tailgate this year.
yeah. I saw he had a solid year. He's in the same. He's with the Nationals, I believe, right? With Lipscomb.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
You know who had a crazy year? And I have talked to you guys about this guy a couple months ago. Will Mabry. Holy cow.
Yeah.
That's going to be one of those dudes that is in the big leagues. People are like, he was at Tennessee? Yeah, because he threw, but it wasn't a ton. And he was on that 22 team where it was just absolutely loaded. But
he's got that left-handed, and he's probably the one you need to get playing golf. I mean, he golfs basically every day in Arizona.
I would too. In Arizona.
Yeah.
You know? What else? Anything else? We really didn't get too.
Yeah, we didn't get too crazy this time, but we can.
Nah, we'll make it next time. We'll make it up.
You know, all the Birdo stuff has been on social media this week, and it's that's probably been the most interesting part, because like the day that ruling came out, I had the game, and then it kind of caught some steam because of Vitello's post games over the last few weeks, and that the play-by-play guy was like, "Do you want me to bring it up?" And I was just like, "No, I really don't know what to say." But on here, I guess I can say that it is unfortunate that he came because of the Pavia ruling, and then they go a different direction, which sucks.
that's the sucky part about the whole thing is whether you agree with he should be eligible or not because of the JUCO stuff, whatever. But it's the fact that you open up that can of worms, because he doesn't go to Tampa. If if it was eligible, he doesn't go to Tampa to begin with. But he also, if you don't make that case for the Pavia, he doesn't leave Tampa.
Exactly. So, and I don't think Pavia should be eligible, or Kitzelman, or Osuna. Everybody that signed up to play junior college ball knew what they were doing, and it's a high level of baseball. However, if you're gonna rule in Pavia's case for an NIL opportunity or whatever the reasoning was, I haven't dug into it too much, then free Birdo. I'm on board with that. And both of those can be true. And I think that's kind of the sticky part of it. Because someone could hear me say that I don't think Pavia should be eligible, and I don't, which in turn means I don't think Osuna should be eligible. But Osuna wasn't here tooting that horn, trying to do that. He saw what transpired in the same state, in the same exact case, and was like, okay, well, because of that, I'm going to try to get the same opportunity. And he should, because of that.
Yeah.
And so Osuna, all those can be true.
Osuna assumed the door was shut, and then they opened it, and now they want to shut it back in his face, which I think that's bullcrap.
I think that's the worst. And they're going to be able to drag their feet until the fall, or until when they don't have to make a decision now because of what they ruled on the Osuna and the guy from Georgia. I can't remember his name.
Goldstein.
And it's just even sketchier that they can just drag their feet on this. And then they floated out the 5th year for everyone. They floated that idea out there, but they're not going to make a decision when there's guys that it's impacting right now. That's just messed up. I don't know how else to say it. Like, it's you're screwing with people on it since you're dragging.
Yeah, and time is not on his side right now. I mean,
no.
Every game that goes by,
it sucks.
It does suck. Which, like, does Tennessee need him to win a national championship? Probably not.
Right.
But
be cool to have him.
They obviously like him a lot. If he were a pinch hitter or a DH option, at the very least, I think he and everybody involved would be thrilled with that, and give him as soon as he gets the green light, somebody's jumping in on him NIL wise, which that's what you want.
Sure.
That's why he's here.
Yeah.
You know, he comes from a modest background, and that's really the main thing. And that was why Pavia was ruled to get a waiver. It's because
Right.
he was a late bloomer and got the popularity late. So they're like, hey, we should give him, a little more time to capitalize on this.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily agree with that. Like, right, you've been playing for 5 years, you're done. But
Yeah.
but that's what they said. So
Yeah.
for
Whatever. Yeah.
It is what it is.
yeah,
We'll see
well,
how it all.
I appreciate y'all having me on.
Yeah, absolutely.
We
Hey, we'll
appreciate
do it again. Yeah, we'll play some golf, and we're trying to do some of that golf content. I don't know if we'll ever do like the turn, because again, we're not professionals, so editing is an issue. So, but yeah, we'll have to do something soon. That'd be sick.
Are you going to do the tournament next year? Is that already on the books?
Yeah, October 4th.
Perfect. That seemed
We'll
like a success from.
It was a lot better than what we thought it was going to be.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I mean,
we're hoping this year, not that this past year wasn't a success, but hoping to build on it and be more successful, and hoping it's better. We want to get better.
No hurricane like right before it would be nice.
Yeah, the last few times I've played Gawani, it's been wet, which stinks.
Yeah.
Are you guys? So tell me how that works. Do you basically just ask companies to kind of come sponsor and maybe put a tent on a hole, or are you just making collecting the team fees? Like how does that deal work?
Yeah. So what's helpful is like you kind of have like your cause. Like my wife is a special ed teacher, so we chose Special Olympics.
That's right.
And they helped out a lot with that, but also it was people that like donated stuff. Like we would get them like a sign made and stuff like that. So they did some of it, but we also like helped out with people that we knew to get like more sponsors and stuff like that. So
yeah, I was just thinking that I can definitely at least put out some feelers for some more sponsors and make it as big as possible.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, we'll get with you. We should post that soon of when that's going to be announced. But yeah, October 4th is when we have the date for it.
That's perfect. Is that a?
It's bye week.
Bye week. Yeah.
Yeah,
a lot of feel out of you guys. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. No weddings in fall around here on Saturday.
No, just golf tournaments.
Yeah, just golf. Golf on the bye week. Those are done by noon anyways. You're good to go.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, you're good.
Or 1 o'clock.
Well, we appreciate it, man. Looking forward to this week. I'm going tomorrow for sure.
No, you're
I
not.
won't be there this weekend. I've got you on the call. I don't need it. I don't need to be there.
Today's Wednesday, Raby.
Oh,
if you go tomorrow,
Friday.
You can watch practice.
Friday. Well, I'm thinking we're recording now. We record Thursday, so Thursday we record. Friday's game.
All right.
Liam Doyle, Donay. Who you got?
Do what?
Brody Donay or Liam Doyle? Who you picking?
Oh, Doyle easily. Donay. Okay. He's a big donkey, but there's some swing and miss in there. That'll be big on big though. That'll be good.
Yeah. Yeah, looking forward to it. All right, Will, we appreciate you, man.
Yep. Have a good one.
See you, brother.
Be good. See ya.